See if Nicky will answer his FaceTime. Typically, he just hangs up on the person trying to FaceTime.
Yeah, longer.
What does that mean? It means that he didn't hit the button?
No, it means he answered.
Well, then why don't we see him? No.
I don't know. It's the internet, I guess.
Oh, that time you got hung up on.
No.
Keep going.
No.
This is great, isn't it?
Come on, Nick, pick it up, man.
He's gonna get pissed.
Come on, stop saying the P word. Ah.
This is great.
Come on, Nick. No, it's not happening. Are you hungry?
Okay.
All right, how about you want a bagel? Oh, it's right there. Mommy made it for you. Oh my God, and now she's feeding the dogs too? She does it all.
What do you want?
Can you make me a sandwich? I'm just teasing. Oh boy. That's not going to work.
Finish your bagel and then you can have Sonic movie. Okay?
All right, Nicky, there you go, handsome. Peanut butter and jelly. I'll take one of those. All right, let me help you. Put the camera down. Give me one of those dog dishes.
I got it.
No, I'm going to get mean comments from people.
No,
Hand it
you're not.
over.
No, you're not. You can't take it now.
I got it. I just want to help you, Shannon. Come on, Rocky.
Bring me back the water bowls.
Look at the size of that bowl of food. This thing is, I could work out with this bowl of food. It's so heavy. Okay, so I know the answer to this question already because it's the reason we're out here. The internet's not working great, so distance work and distance education is obviously a challenge.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
so we have this time
Totally.
anyway. So
I just shut off the modem and restarted it, so I'm hoping that's the issue.
I hope that's the issue too. I hope we're not crooked though. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what else
So a
to
couple
say.
things I want to start off with. One, I just read a great message this morning. People are very interested in your hair. And
Really?
yes, the person's name escapes me. Maybe Helen. She wants to know if you have any curly hair tips.
So, yes, you have to hydrate them because curly hair is typically very dry. My big boy. And you got to get the right product for your hair and the weather.
What's the product?
Well, everybody, I have to be honest with you. As you've seen on previous videos, I ran out of all of my curly girl products because since we moved to this house, the weather has been different. The water is different. I typically use products from Pureology, Curl Complete. So
Right,
you
leave
can get that
mommy
on
alone.
Amazon.
All right, well, thanks.
But otherwise,
Get out.
I will use Big Sexy Hair Volumizing Mousse in the summer. But I have to add that right now due to our local humidity.
Big sexy hair. That's nice.
It's true. That's what it's called.
So a couple things. First of all, and the main thing I want to talk about is like the whole quarantine. You know, how we're keeping Nicholas safe and all of that, and what's
Sit
going to
down.
happen when they go back. You want me to put him away?
Sit. No, if he sits, it's fine. Pico.
Good boy. But I wanted to share, one of the comments was from a woman named Helen.
Yeah.
Who, she posted this comment right after the video that talked about Nicholas going from being nonverbal to verbal.
Okay.
Right? And she talked about, she worked in a group home.
Yeah.
And she took one of the residents to the store. He wanted some kind of toy. And he couldn't communicate to her what it was. And she said it was like such a scene at the store, and she felt so bad. She had a hard time dealing with the other people in the store because they were like, you know, she said she felt like she was getting the stares and things of that nature. And she went aisle by aisle until he could find it.
Oh,
And
gosh.
that story just resonated with me because
All the time.
because we've gone through that
Oh, yeah. Multiple
specifically.
times.
And then what about when the store doesn't have it? Remember, he was upset. I think I don't know. Spider-Man Black isn't Spider-Man Black. What is that? What is that character
I think
called?
it's called Venom.
So, come on, Rocky.
He
You
did
gotta
me
go.
all slimy, dude.
Yeah, you're out of here, man.
Come on.
And I remember going to Target trying to get Spider-Man Black,
Oh, they didn't have it.
And they didn't have it, and it was
Or
just...
Spider-Man Blue.
And it was just a nightmare, you know, and just trying to get him to pick something else was so tough. And then there was the characters that you just couldn't make out, you know, what he really
you didn't
wanted.
know what it was.
So Helen really, you know, got that, and so God bless her. She worked.
Yeah, that's not easy.
She said this was years ago. He's 25 now, and they still keep in touch, which is
that's cute.
absolutely amazing.
Mhm.
Another person, Jen, she commented on how complimentary we are of each other, which I thought was awesome that she noticed.
Yeah.
So important, right?
Beyond. I think it's a very important piece to
Just running it.
keeping your mental health
Yeah.
in check. You got to recognize when each person is suffering and when they're struggling,
Right.
and you gotta save them. We gotta set out the rope.
Yeah, and compliments help. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what I want to talk about. So Nicholas loved doing the shells.
Yeah.
He loved painting the shells, which we have right here.
Yes, but you see, they're a little slobbery. So
the dog was licking them.
The dog, not even licking, his cheeks swept by them. So I ordered acrylic paint sealer.
Really?
I did.
Why are you going to
because
take that the extra mile? Great.
So we have a lot of shells in our garden, which I love. But wouldn't it be fun to have all the shells eventually painted and be bright and cheery?
I love it.
And Nick will love it too. So I ordered that. So I'm going to let him paint them. And then I'm going to spray the acrylic over them.
I think that's going to be amazing.
And they'll stay forever.
And very unique.
Listen.
It's a great idea.
And I think you'll like using the spray paint as well.
You know, I still, you know what's funny is as he gets older and his skills is coming along, his speech, his coping mechanisms, you kind of forget a little bit, or at least it's not in the forefront of your mind, the things that he struggled with so much more. But
Yeah.
just doing the shells really reminded me.
It's a dog.
Yeah, the dog. Doing the shells really reminded me of, you know, how much still in place his transition anxiety is. Because he wanted to do the shells.
Yeah.
But he really needed that reassurance that, you know,
Right.
that we weren't doing them. You know? So that's still a big deal for Nick.
It is. And it was two transitions. It was from one activity to a next, and then another environment from one environment to another.
But it's clear, too, he likes painting at this point.
Loves it, man.
Yeah.
You see how he relaxes, his lips pucker. It's
Yeah.
so cute.
But my point is that he was transitioning to an activity that he likes doing. And he
still protesting.
didn't want to go.
Well,
Like when I drag him outside to throw the football, he's never asked me to throw the football. He doesn't care about throwing the football. So it's not like it's so I can see, you know, him protesting for something like that a little bit more frequently. But he's still protesting, you know, going into activities that he likes to do, which is kind of interesting.
yes. And as a parent, in my opinion, you should know your child and not push to an ultimate meltdown. If Nicholas is going to have a total fit and mess up his whole day because you wanted to throw a football, no, the answer would be no, we're going to cut this out for today.
Yeah.
It's not the day to do this.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And he can't tell us why.
I think it's like a very controversial thing. Is I know there's parents in the camp that are like, look, you got to push him through and all of that, but you're right, that's not where we.
It doesn't work for Nick. He shuts
Yep.
down.
Yep, I agree. All right, on to the
You
main.
brought up COVID, and you didn't ask the question about it.
I just said that was going to be the main part of the conversation.
Oh.
This was just some stuff that I wanted to address.
Oh.
So, you know, at first I didn't even want to go into the whole COVID quarantine thing. Because I want people to come to our channel to kind of get away from everything that's being said on the. You can't go on the news without, you know, having anxiety.
You should just shut it off.
I agree. I hardly watch it.
We don't watch it here.
Nope.
I have enough news for the whole family. We don't need any more. It's true.
Yeah.
Right? Don't you think?
Yes, I don't miss the news at all.
No.
But I feel like now at this point, I mean, what are we, 5 weeks in?
Yeah.
I don't, you know, and so now it has to be something that we address in terms of, you know, how it affects our special needs population and autistic population. And so there's just some points I wanted to talk about that. So number one, let's just talk a little bit about, you know, how are we keeping Nicholas safe today?
Keep him home.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere.
And that, he hasn't gone. He hasn't gone. Nicholas hasn't been over the bridge in a month, right? Since we've moved. Has he been? Oh my goodness.
Since March 15th.
Since we moved here, since moving day,
Yeah.
he has not been back over the bridge to the mainland.
No.
Wow.
And he's not going to.
No, I agree. I think that's the right thing, and I'm sure that's what a lot of special needs parents are doing. It's the right move. It really is. But when you start talking about, with that in place, and after all this time, we have to start thinking about, what he's not getting. And I'm not talking about like the services and things like that. I'm just talking about the whole social aspect of it.
Well, that's the biggest piece.
Right, so he's not seeing his friends anymore. He doesn't see anyone on the track team. He doesn't
Right.
go to school with Johnny. He doesn't see his teachers face to face. He doesn't see any other kids. And now I feel like it's time that we really push to the front burner, getting him some social connection.
How?
Well, I mean, I guess like everybody else is, like with Zoom or Google.
We could do that or FaceTime.
Yeah.
But look, and I probably have a total different outlook on this because I'm dealing with end of life care. To me, this isn't the end of life for Nicholas. It's going to be a couple of months where he's socially interactive with me, you, and Johnny.
Yeah.
That's okay. He's going to be okay. He's not secluded in a room by himself with nobody talking to him all day.
Not life and death.
No, it's not.
But do you think it would be beneficial if we start to get a little bit more regimented, or at least scheduled with, Monday we FaceTime
Call
Krista,
Grandma.
Tuesday we FaceTime Grandma, Wednesday we FaceTime Aunt Lisa, because and I just as part of this video I'm going to show what he does when he gets a FaceTime. Which is really,
Yes.
we probably have to get him accustomed
that's
to
a
not
great
hanging
idea.
up on people.
Yeah, so we should have them FaceTime him at a certain time.
And so that's just Nicholas, but
That's
think
a
about
great idea.
think about the rest of the special needs population. They're all in the same boat as Nick, most likely.
Right.
Where like Johnny's probably FaceTiming right now. Johnny talks to people
All day
every
long.
single day. Now,
Um,
it's also Nick's nature, and we have to push away from this, but it's Nick's nature to not want to talk to people. Nicholas loves being home.
right.
Nicholas, like yesterday, we were both really busy, and he was fine with it.
He was happy. He kept coming downstairs to check,
Yeah.
make sure we were busy.
Right.
He actually yelled at me to say computer.
Yeah.
So I would sit
Exactly.
on my laptop.
And he looks at me and says, phone black. Like, in other words, get back on your phone and whatever
Keep
you're
working.
doing, keep doing it so that you don't bother me.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that's something we
That's
have to,
actually a great idea. But I think that the people should FaceTime him so we teach him not to hang up or
Yeah.
swipe
Well,
decline.
we can come up with some, informal objectives.
Yeah.
I know, I bet you someone else we know in the neighborhood would probably want to talk to Nicholas as well.
Of
Yeah.
course. Of course.
So I think that's a great idea. I think we just got to keep our minds open for, more opportunities and other ways that we could get him to
good.
continue to be. Because I think being secluded is going to breed more transition anxiety. The more you don't have to go anywhere, the more you don't leave,
Right.
the more you don't talk to people, the idea of having to do it becomes bigger than it actually is.
Right.
For neurotypical,
everyone.
for me.
Sure.
I don't want to go back over that bridge. Like, oh my God, all the
No,
people
me
are there.
either.
No.
Definitely not.
So then the other piece I wanted to talk about was like, what happens when we go back? That there's so much to talk about with that, and I wonder, and nobody's even getting there yet. This topic hasn't come up anywhere. We're still trying to get the kids to, open up emails and do some work and all of that.
Right.
But figuring out, how do we keep Nicholas safe? Number one, that's just one topic. But how do we keep Nicholas safe now that when we send him back to school?
Well,
Because he doesn't understand. No, I can't hug everybody. And I think there is going to be a new normal in terms of contact, at least initially, when kids go back to school. What are your thoughts on that, Ms. Shannon?
that's a tough one. And it gives me a lot of stress. There are a couple things that I will make sure of. First is the cleanliness of the school environment, because we all know you have 2, 3 poor custodians cleaning entire schools. It's not going to work. And
Do you think there's going to be a new level of scrutiny on the staff that's in place to clean the school? Because it's very easy for schools to say, yeah, we clean the building at night. But you need a team, right?
Right. So, yeah, and we tend not to use, everybody's green today and no chemicals and blah, blah, blah. That doesn't kill COVID. So when I walk into the school as a nurse, I want to smell the bleach because I know something was cleaned. I know I hate to say it, but it's true.
We're gonna make sure. Yeah, I think all of this is gonna be open for debate. Like, how many people are cleaning the building? Exactly what's being done. What are the products being used? Because it's not as if, so you're in the camp that says we're using bleach. There might be other people that says, all right, is there an alternative to bleach that kills COVID as well?
Right.
You know what I mean? I think. These are things I would want to know.
Of course.
So, but I just don't think we're there yet. I just don't know
No.
if it's gotten to everybody's, thoughts.
No,
yet.
they're trying to figure out the fourth quarter right now. These
Right.
poor principals and teachers. And that's probably going to be next. Like, what's going to happen? What's the school going to look like? Are the kids going to have to wear personal protective equipment? That's a whole other issue. Nick's not doing it.
So let's fast forward. Okay, well, that's a really good point. Let's talk about that. Personal protective equipment.
Right.
So let's fast forward. And the numbers don't go down the way the world wants, but they go down enough where we're going to go back to school in September.
Right.
I think people are just going to keep their kids home.
I think so too.
I think it's still going to be like a crisis. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't even go that far ahead. But do you think that could be something where they want us to put like masks on the kids? Why not?
Yeah. Listen. So
How could I teach with a mask on?
Same way I talk to patients in the hospital with masks on. We're
Yeah,
doing it. No,
you're
the
right.
whole world has to do it. I don't know if it's going to come to that. I hope the government's going to make a wise decision by taking into consideration the amount of cases in each town. And I think the lower amount of cases, just like a snow day. So whoever has an inch of snow is going to school that day. But if you live on the North Shore and there's 4 inches of snow, you're not going to school that day. So if Babylon has 100 cases, but we only have 400 or 500 kids in the school,
That'd be 20%.
that's 20%. That's a lot of cases still.
Oh my God!
But
If we have 20% of our population has COVID, Shannon, there's not going to be any school.
Correct. So if you have Amagansett School, who only has 2 cases, they're going back to school.
So you want to leave this in the hands of? That's another topic. So you think we should leave it in the hands of the individual school districts
Yes.
and school boards, and not the government, the governors, and all of that?
It's got to be in conjunction.
Yeah. So blanket policies aren't going to work. I
It's
wonder
not.
if there's going to be like new regulations, like more unfunded mandates for like the number of people that are working in your building to sterilize a building. That would make sense. All of a sudden,
Well, they
the
need to get
government
funds to
says-
increase the custodial staff.
well, a lot of mandates are unfunded. Who knows? Maybe they'll just have to pull money from other parts of the budget.
Right. Which is kind of
Or nobody's going to bring
understandable.
any of this stuff up at all. I think once it comes time where there's a date and we're all going back, then all of a sudden people are going to be like, what are you talking about? How are we protecting the kids?
Yeah, totally. That's a huge concern. And maybe people aren't thinking about it right now because they're home trying to figure out, their Zoom lessons with their kids. And how they're going to
We
get
gotta
graded
keep
in
the
their
kids
fourth
safe,
quarter, but
you know,
that's more important.
We had parents complain. There was a number of kids getting stomach viruses a couple of years ago in
Yeah.
a different building I worked in. And the parents were like, what are we going to do about it? And I just kind of felt like, how are we supposed to control that? But now after going through all of this,
Well,
it's kind of the same thing, no?
so there's 2 things that fall into the category. Yes, should the desk be cleaned? Because if somebody's sick, it's on the desk, it's in the bathroom, on the door handles, all that stuff.
Desks are not cleaned every day. I can tell
They're
you
not.
that right now.
And how could 2 people do it in a giant school?
Well, there's more than 2, but what you're saying is
Okay.
that the staff isn't adequate.
Right. The other piece that goes along with this is keep your child home
Yeah.
if they're sick.
Well, that's true.
How many kids do
Let me tell you, how many people watching this are like, yes, Shannon, you're absolutely right.
No.
They have to keep the kids home when they're sick.
There's kids who come in and say, oh, she had a little fever, but I gave her Tylenol. No. That's totally unacceptable from moving forward.
So if you had to guess, do you think that schools are going to? What would you like?
That's going to be a strict policy.
We got a letter in the mail that says, yeah, all right, we're returning to school in September, but everybody has to wear a face mask. Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, I do. I totally do. But we're going to have to start working with Nick on wearing the mask.
Wow.
You know what Nick will do,
Or
though?
we keep him home.
He doesn't mind using Purell, and he will wash his hands frequently.
I just don't know if I want him in a building where he's got to wear a face mask. That would be a big question for me. I mean, I think that might be a deal where we really start to weigh and measure our options, if there are any other options, frankly.
Well,
there's always the Family Medical Leave Act too, you know. Oh, I never turned it on. No, just kidding.
Not funny. Not funny.
So there's probably going to be curriculum put in place immediately. There's going to be. I think there's. You know, it's a whole. I one's going to stop it, but that's another big. How is policy going to change in terms of the kids touching each other?
So
let me just give you an idea of what the school looks like. It looks like Penn Station between classes.
Yeah.
The kids are all over each other. I mean, there's pushing, there's shoving, there's hugging, there's horseplay. There is so much touching. Everybody is a few inches from each other's face. I literally, I do not like changing classes. That's how crowded. Not that it's overcrowded for a school, but it could be much more. It could be done way better. We really don't have any rules in place for how we're supposed to transition from class to class.
Okay, so
do you think that will change?
Yes. So what we are doing as healthcare professionals is I have to wake up in the morning, take my temperature, and email my boss and saying what my temperature is, take a picture of the thermometer, say whether I have a cough, sore throat, or shortness of breath.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm allowed to go to work. I can't go to work until then. So do I think that that's a possibility for kids and students? Yes. Number two, if you notice...
How can we process that? Let's slow down. So you're saying, I think that's a great idea. Oh my God, that is a brilliant idea. But how would we process that? So we'd have to, somehow, that feels like an entrepreneurial thing. Somehow we'd have to come up with, there'd have to be some kind of app or something built into like an attendance system that says, all right, you're here, was your temperature sent in as well? Because you definitely can't do that by phone or...
No, but the kids in our district scan their cards to sign in, to punch into school. So they should answer those questions. What's your morning temperature? Do you feel short of breath? Do you have a cough? Do you have a sore throat?
Wow, Shannon, that's a great idea.
Now the other piece. We went to King Cullen the other day and they're not doing this, which has kind of given me a little anxiety, honestly. So if you food shop and Stop and Shop, there's one-way traffic. You're allowed to go up and down the aisles one way. And that's it. You can't go back. You can't go the opposite way.
Yeah.
You can't enter the supermarket the opposite way. So if you're talking about crowded hallways, yes, there's going to have to be some
there are literally
regulation
no
to it.
regulations or rules
There has
for
to,
the
there's
kids.
gonna
I
have to
actually
be.
suggested putting a yellow line down the middle so you stayed on the right, side at
And it's
least.
got to be single file.
It should be.
6 feet apart. The curve is going to go right back up unless we adhere to some stricter guidelines in such crowded areas like schools, in crowded areas like railroad stations, in supermarkets, in the malls, everywhere. The kids are they're going to have to comply.
Yeah.
The little kids are not going to be so understanding, but come on, big kids.
So you expect and would want to see some draconian type policies in place. I can tell you right now there's going to be major pushback on those ideas. But so I guess we'll only, we'll see where it goes.
From who? Parents or teachers?
Yeah, there's going to be, I think there's going to be, and it's to be expected. And, you're going to get different opinions from different parents, teachers, administrators, students.
I don't think a school nurse will disagree with me at all.
No, I don't think so either.
I know
You're
a
right.
school nurse right now is like looking at her school like a petri dish and is like, oh my God, freaking out. Because if any of it took microbiology, what's swimming around in there already. Never mind COVID.
And the nurses are going to be major players in shaping the policies. That's going to be the case. I'm not disagreeing with that. So we'll see. It's a lot,
I just want to get through the end of the day.
Yeah, let's just get through today. Did you have a snack at least? Did you have something to eat?
No, I'm gonna try now.
Oh, well, thanks for
Go
taking a
back
break
on the
and hanging
internet.
out with me.
See
Appreciate
what
it.
happens.
Hopefully
Yeah.
this was valuable to some folks. Thanks for checking us out.
And I wonder how many kids will wear a mask, and how are we gonna get our kids to wear a mask?
That's a great.
And please don't draw on the masks with markers and pen to make them fun. Okay.
Get up to that.
No, please.
Someone could. What if we designed a mask?
You can't just design the appropriate mask. I know people are wearing the masks that everybody makes right now, but it's got to be.
You're telling me that it's impossible to come up with a design? We put a man on the moon. We can't come up with a mask that
We
put a
can, but
smiley
it's
face?
got to be the right barrier.
Okay. All right. I'm not saying.
Maybe that's something that
I think harder things have been accomplished. It can be done.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't have to get there.
Oh yeah.
All right, Miss Shannon. Thank you so much.
Okay.
You're the
Peace out.
best.